Alright guys, you said it, I've listened, and we're reviewing the most requested gun of all time here on the channel on this episode of the Gear Guide. You know, over the years I've reviewed quite a few different guns, but I still get a request for this one, and I'm finally excited to say that I did get it in, I finally tested it, and I'm giving you guys what you're looking for. It is the G&G GR-15 Raider. So in this package, I'm actually dealing with the player pack, so it's more than just the gun, but we'll be looking at the gun and the other components. So starting with the gun itself, what you get is a polymer-bodied M4 with a lot of metal accents, so it's kind of a hybrid. Think of this solid in the mid-tier range of guns, so that's why it's probably the most popular one I get the request for, probably because it fits between that step up from the beginner gun and before you move to those $300+ AEGs. So this one fits squarely in the middle on price and on build. So like I said, you do have a polymer receiver that's upper and lower, but you know, it's G&G, so you're getting a really good polymer body. I mean, this thing looks super nice. It's always fooled me since the first one I ever saw. At first glance, you think it really is metal. Moving on to the front, you get a full metal rail. See, this is where things start to step up, a metal outer barrel and a metal front side. The rail's a good offering. It's solid. It's a 7-inch version and gives you rail options on top, bottom, left, and right. So you can put all your accessories, whether it's a vertical grip, lights, lasers, whatever. And of course, it's covering up a 9-inch metal outer barrel, a metal inner barrel inside of that, and then a plastic flash hider here on the front, all rounded out with the sling attachment point here on the front bottom. So moving on the back, you do get the iron sights. You get that kind of chopped rear sight that's really iconic to this style gun. A metal buffer tube, a single sling attachment points here on the back, and then of course your plastic crane stock where the battery lives inside of it. The grip itself is cool, smooth styling, so it's not your standard A1 or A2 grip. It does have a custom feel to it. And of course, everything's rounded out with the standard metal trigger guard and your standard trigger and fire selector on the left-hand side. The receiver markings are painted in white on the left-hand side. There's nothing on the right, so it's blank, so you can add a sticker or whatever you want, but the fire selector markings are etched in, so they have that good metal molded recessed look. Now moving to that stock we were talking about, the in-butt pad is rubber. Of course, the stock, like I said, is plastic over that metal buffer tube, and inside you have room for a crane stock style battery or LiPo or whatever you want to put in here, but I'd probably stick with the 9.6 considering it shoots a little bit on the softer side, but that's good because this thing's going to be ready for any kind of play, but we'll get to that when we get to the CHRONO section. So under the hood, you get a full metal mech box. There's no corners cut there, and it's their pneumatic mech box from G&G. So what the pneumatic mech box is, it actually takes a little bit of the excess air coming off the piston every time it fires, and it causes this little fake bolt to move every single time. So rather than have an electric feature where it actually pulls it back and releases it with each shot, it's actually using a puff of air, or a little bit of air pressure to make that happen. It's actually a unique system to G&G, and it's something that, as far as I know, only them and maybe a couple other guns have, and it's different approach to the standard blowback feature. And of course, inside you're going to have all the G&G components you're going to find in the normal G&G mech boxes at this tier. This is a great mid-tier offering gun if you're looking to have something that will balance out for both field and CQB play, and you're ready to step up from that basic M4 model. And of course, this being an all-around gun, G&G always includes those 450 round high cap magazines, which I love. It's a metal high cap, it's a ton of ammo, and it's plenty to get you going again out on the field and not have to worry about mag changes that often. But fear not, in all the mags I was able to put in this gun, I didn't have any fitment or feeding issues with a ton of different brands, from Classic Army to even GMP to KWA. So you're gonna be able to put pretty much any mag you have or any mag that you may have in your arsenal in this gun and be able to run it no problem. And of course, I did say this was a package, so you got a few extra things in the box, and this is where things really kind of get better. I was really surprised. First, they give you a full 9.6 volt battery, a 1600 milliamp one no less, so it's actually going to give you quite a bit of juice to play. Usually the ones that come in packages are around 1,000 or maybe even 1,200. This one being actually a pretty darn good branded 1600. I was really surprised with that inclusion. Also on top of that, one of the biggest things I've seen, and I cannot praise this enough, is that the package includes a smart charger. Gone are the days of the plug in the wall and let it charge and ruin your battery right out of the gate. This thing will cut off when it's topped off, and it will actually top off your batteries for you too, when you don't have to worry or do the math converting how much is in my battery to how much this charger and how many hours. That's all gone, and I really applaud G&G for including that smart charger in the package. All right, so taking this thing to the chrono, we saw around 330 feet per second out of it using 0.20 gram G&G BBs. So this thing is set up for CQB or field play, and you're not gonna have any trouble going and playing in any field and having to worry about passing chrono with it, but you still have enough oomph behind it to be able to compete and hold your own on the battlefield. Rate of fire was also pretty good. On a fully charged battery, we're seeing a little bit over 16 rounds a second, which is nice, especially with that pneumatic blowback system. I was a little concerned that it would have some effect on the rate of fire or the FPS, but on our test, I didn't see any issue at all. So hey, thumbs up on that one. So overall, I was really surprised. You know, I've seen so much of this gun. I kind of came into this with a certain expectation. And I tell you, for the $199 roughly price tag for the gun itself, packaged just a hair more, I was really surprised with the performance of this gun. I think if you're looking to make that step up to a mid-tier gun, you've got like the smaller gun, you want something that'll hold its own, you know, on the battlefield. You don't have to really worry about it at all. And you want something to compete, the G&G GR-15 Raider is a pretty darn good offering in that $200 price point range. So guys, if you're in the market for these, you can pick these up anywhere G&G products are sold, specifically at your favorite local or online retailer. All right, guys, I got two questions for you this time before we get out of here. First, what do you think of pneumatic blowback system? The way this thing works and uses the extra air off the piston to cause the blowback. Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's kind of a gimmick? Do you really want that as a selling feature? Let me know down there in the comment section below. Also, since I finally checked off one of my biggest review request guns in the whole history of Airsoftology off the list, I want to know what's next on the list. So let me know down there also what you guys would like to see next up on the review chart. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of The Gear Guide. I'll be back in the next one where I present to you the Airsoftology pneumatic blowback system that requires a whole lot of hot air.